Greetings and salutations, and we're back with more. Um, hold on, Ashes of Creation. I forgot, and it's right up there in the corner, and it slipped my mind what it was called for a second. I've had Balatro on the brain literally all day, every day. It's Balatro is just like dominating my mindset. I did manage to beat green deck. I did manage to beat green stake on red deck. I'm going to be doing a black stake, red deck, black stake Balatro probably after this. But this is the cleric. Yes, it's starting out. It's new, like in the starting zone, so it's going to be the very similar stuff that you've already seen before. But it's the point. One of the reasons I like doing this, and I don't really like investing so heavily in it, is yes, there's going to be character wipes. Yes, I'm going to play the characters more often, but I want to give people the sense. I'll probably make this a twofer: the cleric and the tank. I want to give people the sense of what the characters are like. Like, what do you expect going in? Because there's a lot of people out there. I know that Pirate Software Thor, typical shader problem because it just updated shaders. So, give it a minute. Um, this does it. It does this every time I update shaders. It looks exactly like this. Clears itself up shortly after, and it's something they have to work through. I mean, alpha, it'll chug for a bit because of the shaders and everything. But while it's chugging on this self, let me just um continue to say that you have a lot of people out there like Pirate Software or Thor and other players that play this game, and you could see where it's actually taxing my PC, causing encoding overload. And you'll see chugging in the video as it's doing this. But I'm letting it sort itself out, and I'm taking time. Now, they play the game, yes, and they play it more of a, like, at a higher level. They're level 25, 24, 7, 28, 20, whatever. And they're showing that aspect of the game. But most people that tune into a game that's coming out that's in alpha, they kind of want to see all aspects of the game. Like, how does it start? How do the characters feel? How do the characters behave? Like, right now, you start with Mend and Smite. Mend instantly launches healing projectile toward target ally. You could probably target yourself and Mend, which you can indeed. And it does 150% of healing power in health upon arrival. Smite your target, dealing 150% radiant damage. If activated while in melee range of the target, the spell has no cast time. So it that's kind of like a double-edged sword if you think about it. As you're a cleric, you're not fully meant to do melee damage, but you know, if you think about it, that's kind of like a bit of a payoff too. Let's see where. That's a scepter. I don't want that. That's a shield. But can I get a spell book? Okay, I can get a spell book. Does that go? That's two-hand. Okay, so the scepters are the same. So clerics can get a shield. I don't know if they can get an offhand later, but we will find out for sure. So, I mean, at least I can block, so that's a plus. Let's check here. The weapons spellbook here. So far for scepters, you can get daze and stagger, but for spellbook, you can get burning, volatile, and chilling, which that would help because you can then do smite when it's burning and then conflagrate. So spellbook might be the play there later on. But this gives you status effects, which is stagger and daze. Not quite applicable just yet, but we'll get there. That's cool. Got him. That worked out pretty well, I might say. And the fact that you could just mend yourself a whole bunch of times while you're on the move. I still don't think that this is as strong as the Bard. I think the Bard was way stronger, as you could just start really laying down the damage with the Bard early on. But this is it feels pretty good so far in terms of what the Cleric is, at the very least. Plus side is you get a shield, so you can always block, which now will open up the skill book. Not skill book, duh. Yep, more chugging because of the encoder and everything. But like I said, like every time you get every time it patches, and I will say this about this game: every time it patches and it has to load shaders, it will do this. It'll have that issue until all the shaders and everything are loaded and everything is fully loaded. It will have an issue in that regard. At which point, once it has that, and once that's all finished, I think it's pretty in the clear.
You'll find it just north of us here. Our clerics have asked.
And I'm not even going to bother with all the mount and everything. I'm just going to go and do some stuff. Ceases Cackles, Wolves at Night, Lay of the Land, Darken Our Skies, Nasher Smasher, and that one. We'll grab a bunch of them. Because you've already seen me do all the professions before, so we're just going to get into it. I do like the smite thing for Cleric. Now, I don't know if they've changed any of the talents here. See, this one is Divine Infusion or Essence Infusion at level 1. So it's... you get to choose your one. Which that I do like. You know, you get to choose your active skill. I think they need more of that in games. And less of here are the defined skill sets that you get, like it or lump it. I really like the whole you get to choose kind of like a branching path. And if they had stuff outside of the branching path, it'd be even better. Forget that I can block. I keep forgetting it. Oh, I don't even have to target myself. I could just... oh yeah, that makes clerics even more busted. Because now I don't even have to de-target. I can just keep the thing targeted and... yeah, that's crazy. Did that level up my... oh, that leveled up my scepter. Okay, so now we get to see days to target hits. So, days, magical casting speed reduced. Duration can be extended for up to things staggered. Evasion. Let's go with days. They said spellbook went up one too. We're gonna go with burning, just because. Let's swap over to this. Let's try this. Okay, well that doesn't actually give me that much more benefit. In fact, it's a bit of a detriment because it's slower. Yeah, it hits harder, sure, but I like the Scepter better because it makes you more defensive. Also, I'm burning up my men charges. Get back here. I'm not done with you. Oh, wow. Oh, he's way down there. Get back here. I mean, I like the Cleric. It's a fun class, really. Nope, we're getting out of here. Bit off, I get a little bit more than I could chew. Yeah, well, we'll figure it out. I mean, low-level clerics in other games, it's like in a lot of the other games, they didn't really have a whole lot of early power. I believe my brother was saying something like white mages in Final Fantasy were one of the best classes to play. I never played Final Fantasy, so I couldn't tell you. Let's see here. There it is, the skill tree. So I want the one for block. Reduces the stamina cost of an incoming block. And then here we're going to do, well, active your spells consume divine power instead of mana or health. Normal resource cost of inhibition divine power. Instantly complete the remaining casts. We're going to go with Essence Infusion. That seems kind of busted. Is it just a passive? No, it's an instant cast. Continue editing, confirm that choice. And I'm getting more crits with this thing than I am with anything else. Makes a cleric feel kind of almost like a paladin. It's almost got that melee hybrid feel. Kind of interesting. And I don't know if I would put it in the complete paladin category, but it definitely fits the bill for sure. Wow, subsequent mends will mend for more. Okay, that's not gonna lie, that's kind of busted. So you could just pop mend, and then mend again, and then mend a third time, and your mend just keeps getting more and more proficient. Wow. Let's see, judgment, healing touch, resplendent beam. Beam of healing energy toward a target ally. So you get a lot of
Excellent.
like
Let it be have you excellent.
spell,
Let it be known that even as we struggle
a lot of healing capabilities and whatnot. It's interesting. But there's also damage components too, because and that's something I do like with his judgment. Look at that. If you cast on an ally, it heals 1500% healing power on the target. But if you cast it on an enemy, it does damage and it sets them on fire and it makes them shaken to the target. If the enemy is shaken, the caster is healed for the damage dealt. Doesn't that play into the weapon? Doesn't the weapon give shaken? Staggered and dazed. We'll do that. Let's see how that works. I didn't really want the proc chance, but so I went with the other one. I went with penetration, whatever that does. I don't know if it does more damage to the enemies or the. I think healing classes are going to have it way easy in the beginning of this game. Just because you can heal yourself, I think they're going to be one of the easier classes to play. There's going to be a lot less downtime. So if you're playing a class that's not a healer, you better have a friend playing a cleric or a bard. See, I don't understand why people that are like level 25s come back out here. That makes no sense. Like, why are you attacking stuff that level 2s should be killing? I don't know. Maybe there's something to that I haven't noticed yet. Hard telling. Maybe they're leveling their weapon skills. That could be it. Someone else's loot? Yep. I'm not taking that. And yes, I did name this cleric Clarice. I don't know why. I sat there and the first thing I thought was, you know... It was the other day when I made two characters. I made the tank and I made this cleric. And when I made the tank, I didn't sign on, but I signed on to the mage shortly thereafter. I'm pretty sure I saw someone named Fava Beans. And I immediately thought of the Silence of the Lambs. So I was like, well, there you go. Hello, Clarice. This is just nuts. This is honestly craziness. Oh, that's new. Missing profession tool, hunting bug. Oh, so that's for skinning. Okay, I figured that one out now. Alright. Now we have another skill point. More block, even though I haven't used it much. I'm gonna go for judgment. I really do enjoy this game wholeheartedly. I'm gonna try judgment, and then I'll pop over to the tank, and I'll see what that's like in the first few levels. As the last time that I was making characters, I never really got to see what the whole like eats. I never got to see what like the whole character thing was, because it was at the tail end of one of the alphas, and I was like, well, okay, whatever. And so I just kind of ran with it. It was like, well, whatever. That's one way to take care of a raven. That's a cool name for a cleric, Epitaph. Really like that. Crazy. Only one of those counted for me. Got a thief in our midst. Meanwhile, clerics be calling down the smite of God on people. Kind of cool. I wonder if they're actually bringing out like newer stuff. Like I know that they're bringing out what's this called there? Summoner. I know that the summoner is coming soon. They didn't say how soon, they just said soon. Not like Blizzard soon, so it's not like a year and a half away. I think they said in the next couple of patches, maybe. And that's something I'm interested in because I'm still leaning heavily toward Rogue, mostly because I like the idea of being able to sneak around and kind of be an informant. which makes sense if you think about it. A lot of it's going to be player based and player run, so. Okay. The fact that Judgment causes burning and then Smite causes burning to become conflagrate, that's ridiculous. Maybe they know something I don't. Maybe it's quicker for them to just crank out commissions out here at low levels. And then like they come back through here at like level 10, 15, and they just one-shot everything and then just turn in commission. Maybe that's a faster way to level. I think commission should shut down for lower levels. But anyway. I mean, the Cleric seems kind of cool. You can... Ooh, blessed weapon. Look at that. Your weapon combo finishers deal 5% radiant damage and apply blessed weapon mana regen. That's cool. Let's take a look at some of these other things. Resurrect. Okay, so you get Resurrect at level 6. Healing Touch. Soothing Glow. Soothing Glow heals for 60% healing power every second, lasts 8 seconds. So it's kind of like a Renew. Flash Cure instantly heals a target. Deliverance. Held ability charges up healing energy that heals a target upon release. Scaling in power the longer it's charged. Oh, remove up to 3 dispellable debuffs from an ally. I like that. Grant target ally Defiant Light. Heal for 5% of maximum health up to 300% healing power each second over 10 seconds. That's kind of gross. 30-second cooldown. If fatal damage is received while under the effect is consumed to prevent death and heal for 25% of maximum health up to 1500% healing power. That's a cheat death right there. That's gross. You could target yourself. Sacrifice 25% of your maximum health and apply that much temporary health to target ally. For 10 seconds does not stack. They at least had the forethought to put that in. Divine Flare. Heals for 1,000 healing power divided amongst each target. Applies Divine Protection, which gives medical mitigation by 50% last 5 seconds. Or does Divine Flare. Deals radiant damage and applies silence to enemies. That's gross. Silence for 4 seconds? Blessed weapon regenerate mana. 1 mana every 1.5 seconds, lasts 6 seconds per application up to a maximum of 15. Or it burns them for additional fire damage. Endurance heals more based on the missing health. Soothing Glow has an additional charge. See, I like this. Change of Restraint. Radiant damage and snares. And this one just says final tick stuns them. Communal Restoration grants temporary HP to 10% of the target's max health. Also heals for 30% healing power every second. Gain temporary health equal to 250% of magical power. Lasts 5 seconds. That's crazy. Oh, and that breaks all disabling effects on the caster. Okay. So this is kind of cool. I do like it. I like how they're going with it. Yeah, they want to make you, like, obviously Cleric is going to be like the baseline healer. However, it shows that there's the idea that maybe, just maybe, there could be something else that's not necessarily healing. You could do some damage with it. But I think it's going to be a healing bless bot. But hey, they're going to do pretty good at it, I think. Stout Blade. We're going to show the tank. I've already shown the Bard last time, so I'm not doing that yet. I I do like playing the mage. I do like playing the fighter because I've done both of those up to level 4. I do want to continue playing. I think I want to continue playing the mage more because it seems like a ton of fun. I think my highest was 7, and that was my rogue, 7 or 8, and then they reset and they did a character wipe. But I'm just kind of chomping at the bit for the. It'll come to me in a second. Summoner. Sorry, it took me a second there. So I wonder something. If I use the scepter, it does arcane damage. What does his sword skills get? Because I never really fully went into the whole weapon skills with this, with the tank. So if I put on the sword, one-handed sword, bleed, snare, and wound. But is there? There's no detriment to being like dazing the target, is there? Unless their class doesn't gain anything to daze. Shield assault, shield slam, desolate, pulverize, protect, shake it off. Oh, cool! They get a self heal. Yes, I name him Stout Blade and immediately equip a scepter. The irony is not lost on me.
We are having a bit of a goblin problem.
Oh, yes, they are. They're always having goblin problems. So let's see. We have Vengeance, which is... It applies 3 hits. Physical damage and applies stunned. Combo ability. Launch up to 3 consecutive attacks against one target enemy. Each grants 1 stack of Vengeance to the caster. Grants 2% of maximum health as a temporary health for 8 seconds, up to 3 stacks. Incoming damage hits reduce... incoming damaging hits reduce disabilities. Cooldown by 0.5 seconds. And hits that were blocked reduce it by 1 second. Oh, cool. Generates 100% additional threat. Oops. Preventing being grit, which is physical mitigation, increased by 20%. Why can't I just grit anytime? Oh, it costs 40 courage. Oh, okay. Build courage through your valiant actions in combat. Valiant, not valiant. Courage can be spent on certain abilities and effects for unique advantages on the battlefield. Weapon combo finishers and extended finishers generate 33 courage and apply stagger to targets hit. Taking damage also increases courage based on the amount of incoming damage. Threat generated by damage dealt is increased by 100% on all abilities. So they really went all in with the you're a tank. You know, just pretty much you there with the shield, you're going to stand there and become, well,
You'll find it just north of us here.
a meat shield, to be perfectly honest. We're going to grab these same things. Oh. Wow. Count the Griffin's Nest, and I can't even do that yet. Anyway. So far, it does promote you actually actively blocking to reset the cooldown on Vengeance. Though Vengeance will reset regardless if you block or not. Obviously, if you block, you take less damage. It doesn't say anything about evading, so they want you to block. So they want you to lean heavy into the blocking mechanic. At least it's active block, so I'll give them that. I'll head south out of town and I'll go kill some Grim. Actually, I don't have any Grim to kill down south. Thought for sure there was going to be the same thing. Oh yeah, Nasher Smasher. There it is. Didn't see it there, so I was kind of puzzled.
Have you excellent? Let it be known that even
One thing that I have noticed about this game is that it really, I have unadorned daggers. Interesting. They're two-handed because they get two of them. Get a pair. One thing I've noticed about this game is they make the classes definitely have a distinct look and feel. So it's not like you're a fighter, you can be a pseudo tank. I mean, you probably can in a pinch, in a bind, but they don't lean heavy into it and say, ah, yes, you're a fighter and you're going to be wearing heavy gear, so here's your shield abilities in your fighter tree. Notice how they don't do that. Notice how in your, your tank tree, there's not really any two-handed talents. You can charge, you can tomahawk, taunt, tremoring bellow, or tremoring strike, depending on which one. Yeah. But there's nothing really like for two-handed. So like when you roll a tank, they want you to be running around with a shield 100% of the time. And I do like that. Like they really like said, you know what? That's your class identity. You wanted it. Now, again, I still don't know how the blend of the classes works, because you're supposed to be able to pick a secondary class. Once you get to a high enough level, you can pick a secondary class, and they said it will somehow supplement your primary class's abilities. So how that is, I don't know. If they actually add the secondary class abilities that you can use, I think you'll see some rather interesting builds. Like rogue tank. You can have a whole, I mean, if it was like, let's say tank rogue, and you were able to pick up stealth later on. What you'll see stealth runs of players going in and just wanting to stealth run all the way to the end. They'll say, well, we're just going to go into this dungeon and stealth all the way to the boss. No worries. Wow. That didn't work out in my favor. Hold too many. The difference between a tank and a cleric right there. Cleric could have amended it and been going. This is why I'm going to give my opinion here. Shake It Off should be a level 1 ability, and Grit should be a level 2. Giving a tank the ability to have a self-heal early on allows them to grind a little bit, allows them to get to, level 2, level 3, at which point they can really fully tank. Just like with, take a look at the Cleric. It has a damaging ability as well as a healing ability. It has both. Does it need both? Yeah, kinda. Even though this game wants you to build a community, it wants you to really work together and play as teams and meet new players and really have that conversation and sit down and be like, yeah, that's what this game is about. They want it to be about the community, and I get that. I'm totally with that 100%. But it's also quite interesting that they kind of need to like make it a little easier to get just a slight bit easier for new players to really step into the game and get a feel for it without throwing them into the deep end and saying, well, there you go. There's your deep end, and the game is incredibly difficult. I get that a lot of people are going to like that. I like it. I like the fact that the game's got a difficulty rating to it, for sure. But I also think that the learning curve and everything is a little steep. Okay. So we have Shield Assault and Shield Slammer, Desolate and Pulverize. Desolate slams your target, restricts your target and surrounding enemies for 150% weapon damage. Generates 300% additional threat. Move to your target and strike them for 225% physical damage. Okay. Lunge forward and deal 125% physical damage while applying stagger to enemies in front of you. If the target was hit, gain 33 courage. Threat. Lunge towards your target, deal 150% weapon damage, applying staggered, gain 33 courage on hit. Threat. What's the difference? Okay, one's like quicker. Oh, you can get any one of these. Tremoring Bellow, Taunt, Tomahawk. Shake It Off, Protect. Intercept attacks that strike your friendly nearby target, redirecting 30% of the damage taken to you. That's something they don't really do in a lot of MMOs. They did it once in World of Warcraft in Burning Crusade with Intervene, but it also intercepted to the target. So it's a little bit different. Let's see. This one says 150% weapon damage. Before we grab Shield Slam, I'm thinking I'm going to go Pulverize. Yeah. I'm going to try to pulverize my target. We're going to see. Wound. Reduces healing received. No. Snare. Let's go with bleeding. Why not? Let's go with the blocking. Bleed him, block him, smash him. Wait a minute. The pulverize is pretty good. Okay. All right, I get it. Kind of crazy. Okay, it's very crazy. I mean, okay, I'm gonna say it. Vengeance working with block is by far one of the smartest mechanics I've seen in a long time. 100% one of the smartest mechanics. That's crazy. Because then it encourages you to block and makes you say, you know, if you block more, you'll be able to do more damage with your shield. Okay. That's it's kind of crazy, not gonna lie. Thinking about getting that shaken off though, because that is going to make leveling a lot easier. Like Brems do still come out at night, just not at a high enough rate. Here's one. I also like the fact that these things run on mana. It does take some use. It does take some, you know, time to get used to it in terms of like how the controls work and everything. Once you learn the controls, it feels pretty smooth. That and I love that sound of explosive of pulverize. You want that refreshing sound. 100%. You never want your sound effects to sound like weak or anything like that. You want them to sound very powerful and scary. Because you want people to hit it, right? So when you're sitting there, and that's something that I do have to say to a lot of like developers out there. The developers that make a game and they think, well, we don't want the ability to be too loud. No. You want that ability to be loud. Because you want to be able to, you want to be able to hear it. You want to be able to feel it. You want it to be able to feel good to hit. You want people to hit it and then feel fulfilled or satisfied that they hit it and want to hit it again. Pulverize has that feeling because you hear the thunderous kaboom when you land. Same way with Judgment. Judgment for the Clerics had that same thunderous kaboom. It made you feel good hitting that button, and it made you want to hit it again. Made you wish it was off cooldown. That's what developers should do. One of the most depressing things that ever happened was when they started changing the sound effects of certain things so that they no longer had the same effect. Like, they didn't have Paladins, for example. Paladins back in the day in World of Warcraft, when they first got Hammer of Wrath, they loved Hammer of Wrath after it got fixed. They loved it even more when that Hammer of Wrath made a loud, thunderous kaboom. They were enthralled with it. And rightfully so. It's what it should do. It should make that sound. It should be the exclamation point on the fight. Just bang. Right? That's how it should feel. It should have that satisfying oomph to it. Not everything needs that, but certain abilities need that very satisfying boom. It would be like if you were playing Heroes of Newerth, or if you were playing, I can't even think of the game right now, and their Execute, it was another MOBA, and they had an Execute. Legionnaire had the one in Heroes of Newerth, and Execute had a very thunderous kaboom when you did it, and it felt good because you heard the axe go clang when it hit the ground, and you heard that very distinct thunderous bang, and then you heard the clang of the axe against the ground, and it felt good. And you were like, that's the capper on the fight. You were like, I got him. And it would reset Execute when you successfully killed them with Execute. It got to the point where Legionnaire could just go in, like port key in, taunt, and then just execute all 5 people, especially if he had the staff. I can't even remember what the name of the staff was. It was an item. But anyway, same effect. You want an ability to be that capper so that you could say, that's the end of the fight, got him. Doesn't necessarily have to be an opener, but having that satisfying sound, rewarding is what it is. It really fires off the monkey brain endorphins, and you get that endorphin rush, and you're like, yeah, I did it. And you just get this, very primitive smile, visceral, just kind of, because it's not really like an endorphin hit of winning a lottery or winning in a game or something like that. It's just that it fits. When your sound direction is on point, that's what it is. That's proper sound direction. That's proper sound. Whoever did the sounds for the move, like Pulverize or Legionnaire's Execute, nailed it. Stuff like that just nails it. But that was both the Cleric and the Tank. And yeah, it is obviously just the beginning parts of it. But, things like, you take a look, Fortify, increasing mitigation by 10% plus an additional 0.1% per curve spent. it just... Ooh, wait, intimidating aura. Generates threat equal to 5% of your maximum health every tick. And it does it for 8 seconds. That's a lot. That's quite a bit of magic damage just by existing. Not bad. But I like it. Like, I really do enjoy this game a lot. And I am going to play it more. And of course, because it's intermittent, it's in alpha, and they only have, like, it's only up for a few days. A week. Once they do the 24/7 server, I will definitely start pouring more time into it. And really playing more of the characters, like, narrowing it down to one character and furthering the adventure. But this is kind of like a showcasing the classes to see what you can expect. And this ability right here, it does have quite a bit of long cooldown of 30 seconds, but restores 50% of the difference between damage taken and healing taken in the past 4 seconds. Always heals for at least 10% of your maximum HP, cannot heal for more than 30% of your maximum HP. And that right there is kind of a necessary if you're going to try to grind it solo. That's what's going to be your bread and butter. Between that and blocking actively and with Vengeance, is you're going to have your bread and butter with those 4 skills right there. I think Grit is more of a, if you can manage to just kind of tank in a dungeon by actively blocking and smashing things with your weapon and then gritting, you might be able to be an effective tank. I think that, I'm going to say it right now, I think the really good tanks in this game are going to be really skilled players and should not be underestimated. I think if you can master this class, you are going to be at the top echelon of players. Truly. But that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, because I did as well. I like the Cleric, I like the tank. I still don't think they're as fun as the Rogue or as the Bard. The Rogue Bard is still my first 2. They just seem so broken. Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing the Summoner when it comes out. After I showcase the Summoner, I'm going to start focusing more on one character. I will make a Rogue, and I will probably focus solely on that and push forward. But I hope everybody has a fantastic evening, a wonderful tomorrow, and as always, have a good one.